The story begins in a small evangelical town called Grovetown, Maryland. We see a young couple, Sean and his girlfriend, Natalie. Sean is reading strange phrases from a book, but their meaning isn't clear. While talking, he suddenly takes out a gun, which scares Natalie. Before she can react or understand what's happening, Sean uses the gun to end his own life. Natalie panics and screams in fear. The scene shifts to a clothing store owned by Bernard. Lindsay and her mother are shopping there. We also learn that Natalie, from the opening scene, is Bernard's daughter. Since the town is very religious, Bernard is upset that his daughter didn't dress modestly. Suddenly, Natalie rushes inside with red stains on her clothes, frightening everyone. She's holding the same book Sean had, and it looks like she's running from someone. Bernard tries to calm her and asks what happened. Natalie says the blood isn't hers and insists someone is following her. They quickly lock the store door. Bernard starts calling the police, while Natalie waits alone in a small room. Then the door shuts on its own. Bernard and the others try to open it, but by the time they get inside, Natalie has taken her life with a pair of scissors. When Bernard reaches her body, he feels something strange. Next, the police and townspeople arrive. Lindsay also sees everything and is clearly shaken. Later, Lindsay talks about the incident with her friend, Claire. Claire doesn't take it seriously, even though Lindsay knows how frightening it was. From their conversation, we learn Lindsay's father has passed away, and her mother is dating a man named Roy. That evening, Lindsay meets her boyfriend, Dylan, the son of the town pastor. Like his father, Dylan is very religious, but it seems Lindsay doesn't feel a very deep love for him. Later that night, Bernard is still grieving his daughter's loss. While turning off the store lights, he sees something and is suddenly attacked. We don't see it clearly, but it seems he meets the same end as Natalie. The next morning at home, Lindsay talks with her mother. Her mother, also very religious, believes the recent deaths are part of a dark pact or curse affecting the town. At this point, no one even knows Bernard has died. We learn that years ago, the Spindle family lived here. Many believed their mother was a witch and the townspeople ended her life. Now, some think these deaths are her curse because her two sons, Aiden and Sean, eventually returned. And Sean ended his own life, which we saw in the opening scene. Most people blame the Spindle family, but Lindsay doesn't believe in curses or dark magic, so she isn't convinced. We then see the church, where Pastor Joe gives his sermon and briefly mentions the deaths without showing much concern. Dylan later gets upset because he takes the situation very seriously and believes a pact is behind everything. The story shifts to Molly, Bernard's niece. She enters the store and discovers Bernard's body, which looks like he also ended his own life. When she gets close to him, she feels something strange. Soon, the police arrive. This is now the third body found in a short time, making people believe even more strongly that something dangerous is happening in Grovetown. Molly is sitting outside crying as Bernard's body is taken away. Among the crowd, she suddenly sees a girl who looks exactly like her, which scares her. The next day, Lindsay keeps thinking about everything. Most people believe Bernard took his life because he couldn't handle Natalie's death. While she's outside, she notices Dylan angrily accusing Aiden of worshiping something dark. Aiden stays calm, but when he replies, Dylan hits him. Lindsay steps in, and Dylan walks away. She helps Aiden, cleans his wound, and drives him home. They talk about Sean, and she asks why the brothers returned. Aiden explains they grew up here, and this town is their home. Lindsay feels sorry for him because his whole family is gone, and now the townspeople treat him with suspicion. She notices a burned shed outside, and Aiden explains that the townspeople once believed his mother was a witch. They burned her in that shed, then covered it up by calling it an accident. Meanwhile, Molly finishes her shower and sees a terrifying version of herself in the mirror. The same figure then appears in front of her. It's clearly something evil. Molly tries to escape, but the weather is stormy and no one is around to help. The entity ends her life. The next morning, Claire is driven to school. We see Molly's body nearby, though Claire doesn't notice it. As she passes, she hears strange whispers and starts acting like something has influenced her. At school, Lindsay notices people are insulting her for helping Aiden. She also sees Dylan turning others against her. They argue, and Dylan insists they'll soon have proof against Aiden because his father is examining a black book found with Sean. Meanwhile, Claire is in the restroom staring at herself in the mirror, acting as if something has taken over. It's actually the same evil entity, and she's about to become the next target. This curse keeps passing from one person to the next, and anyone who gets close to the previous victim's body becomes the next one affected. Lindsay goes to meet Aiden to warn him that the town is turning against him, and he could be in danger if he stays. She also meets Aiden's cousin Sadie there. Aiden refuses to leave, calling this town his home. After Lindsay leaves, Sadie asks him why that girl came. She doesn't want outsiders involved, but Aiden says he will handle it. Their conversation hints at something deeper, which we will learn later. Lindsay even talks to a police officer, trying to explain that the townspeople once hurt Aiden's mother and may target him next. The officer brushes it off and says the town isn't violent. Meanwhile, Claire heads home, and the evil entity appears in front of her. Terrified, she screams and quickly reverses her car, but it keeps coming after her. Panicking, Claire crashes the car, and a branch traps her inside. She survives the crash, but is stuck, crying for help. Lindsay's house is nearby, and her mother Tricia runs out to save her. But suddenly the car explodes, and Claire loses her life. After Claire's death, Tricia starts hearing the same strange whispers, showing the curse has reached her too. Meanwhile, Lindsay keeps meeting Aiden. He warns her that the town is dangerous and she should leave, but she doesn't understand. When she gets home, Dylan and Tricia pull her aside. They believe that because she supports Aiden, he must have used some kind of dark influence on her, so they want to purify her. Tricia also tells her about Claire's death, which leaves Lindsay heartbroken. Back home, Lindsay argues with her mother and goes to her room. Later that night, Tricia wakes up feeling someone is inside the house. She calls Lindsay, but Lindsay is in her room. Panicking, Tricia runs to the bathroom and grabs a bottle. In the mirror, it looks like alcohol, but it's actually bleach, and she drinks it. Her body begins to burn from inside, and she sees the evil entity right in front of her. Lindsay hears the noise and runs in. Because she is the first living person to witness Tricia in this state, the curse now transfers to Lindsay. Terrified, Lindsay goes to Aiden and tells him everything. She now realizes the curse is real. Aiden explains the entity can only harm her when she's alone, and it mainly attacks the mind by creating fear. If she stays mentally strong, it won't be able to break her. He puts a special protective oil on her skin, saying it will help for a short time. Lindsay also understands that the curse started with Sean, who activated it through the book he was reading. Sean wanted revenge on the townspeople for what they did to his mother. By ending his own life, he triggered a chain reaction. Anyone who comes into contact with a victim becomes the next target. Aiden explains that if a curse can be started, it can also be stopped, but they need the book. Dylan's father has it, and Lindsay knows where it's kept. They go straight to the place and find the book locked in a cabinet. While Aiden works to open it, Lindsay sees the evil spirit again and panics. He reminds her to stay strong. After getting the book, they return to Aiden's house. Meanwhile, Pastor Joe and Dylan discover the book is missing and immediately blame Aiden. Dylan urges his father to take action, just like the townspeople once did to Aiden's mother. Pastor Joe refuses, but Dylan won't listen. To stop him, Joe reveals a secret. The man whose death led to the attack on Aiden's mother didn't die because of her. He died because of Joe, and Candace Aiden's mother paid the price. Joe doesn't want his son living with the same guilt he carries. Dylan is upset, but doesn't care. He still plans to kill Aiden. Back at Aiden's home, Sadie arrives holding a gun. She demands the book. She doesn't want the curse broken. The truth finally comes out. Aiden and Sadie were part of this plan from the beginning. They returned to town to avenge their mother's death, and they knew all about the curse. Aiden admits the idea to start. It came from him. Sean only triggered it, but now Aiden regrets everything and wants to undo the damage. When Lindsay learns the truth, she is shocked. Aiden tells her they must protect the book first because Sadie has locked them inside. If Sadie destroys the book, the curse can never be stopped. They escape through another way and reach Sadie just as she sets the book on fire. But Aiden manages to save it. At the same time, Dylan and his friends arrive. Lindsay and Aiden run from the house, while Roy stays behind and catches Sadie. From outside, he sees Aiden and Lindsay escaping into the woods and begins chasing them with Paul. To confuse their pursuers, Lindsay and Aiden split up. Meanwhile, Roy finds Sadie inside and, believing she is a witch, burns her, claiming he was guided to do it. Sadie loses her life in the fire. In the woods, the evil spirit starts chasing Lindsay. She runs toward a deck but loses control of her own actions. The entity lifts a rope with her hands, forcing her to choke herself. Just before she harms herself, Aiden arrives and saves her. He begins preparing the ritual to end the curse. But just as Sean had to give his life to start it, someone must now give theirs to finish it. Aiden decides to sacrifice himself because everything began with his mistake. He makes Lindsay promise to burn the book after he's gone. They hug each other, both crying, and Aiden steps forward, ready to end his life. A gunshot is heard. Aiden falls. Dylan appears right behind them. He points his gun at Lindsay and says he never thought he would do something like this, but since she is now one of them, he believes he must end her life too. Before Dylan can shoot Lindsay, she grabs Aiden's gun and fires at him first. Paul sees this and runs away. Lindsay is devastated, but she still has one last job. She must burn the book. She takes it deep into the woods and sets it on fire. But the evil spirit appears again and ends Lindsay's life. The curse hasn't been broken. The reason is that Aiden's death wasn't a true sacrifice. Dylan fired the shot, not Aiden himself. Since it was a murder instead of a willing offering, the curse remained active. In the final scene, we see that the entire town has fallen under the curse's effect, and most people have already died. With the only copy of the book destroyed, there is no longer a way to stop the curse. The story ends with the sense that the curse might continue forever.